Glad again. Choosing another view. This is a story about a woman who has become so practiced at noticing what is wrong that she no longer realizes she is choosing the lens through which she sees. A simple encounter in a city park shows her that joy is not pretending, difficulty is absent, but allowing another interpretation to become possible. Nora had become very good at disappointment. She could spot a stain on a clean table from across the room. She noticed the one cloud in a blue sky. If 9 people thanked her and 1 complained, she remembered the complaint. She called this realism. Her brother called it exhausting. One Saturday, after a week in which the printer broke, her car battery died, and her manager criticized a report she had worked hard on, Nora walked through Harbor Park carrying a coffee and a list of grievances. A fountain splashed too loudly. Children ran too close. Someone's dog barked. Even the sunshine seemed excessive. Then she noticed an elderly man sitting at a folding table beneath a yellow umbrella. On the table were dozens of empty picture frames. A handwritten sign read, "Free View." Nora stopped. "What are you selling?" "Nothing," the man said. "Then what are the frames for?" "To look through." She nearly walked away. Instead, mostly because she had nowhere else to be, she picked up a blue frame. "Now what? Find something you don't like." That should be easy." She aimed the frame at a muddy puddle. "Ugly," the man nodded, moved slightly. Nora shifted. Inside the frame, the puddle reflected the sky and a row of bright red balloons passing overhead. "Huh? Same puddle?" "Yes. Different view?" She frowned. "That's just an angle." "Exactly." Nora put down the frame. The man handed her a green one. "Try again." She pointed it toward a bench covered with peeling paint. "Neglected. Move." She stepped sideways. Through the frame, she saw a young father tying his daughter's shoe beside the bench. The girl kissed the top of his head. Nora became quiet. "Still neglected?" he asked. "The bench is." "Ah, but perhaps the bench was not the whole picture." Nora sat down. "What's your name?" "Samuel." "Do you do this every weekend?" "Only when I forget." "Forget what?" "That my first interpretation is not always the truth." That sentence followed Nora home. On Monday, her manager asked her to revise the report. Her mind immediately announced, "He thinks I'm incompetent." Then she remembered the frame. What happened? He asked for revisions. What had she added? A verdict about herself. Nora made the revisions. Later, the manager stopped by. "This section is strong," he said. "I'm pushing you because I think you can lead the next project." Nora stared at him. Her story had been convincing. It had simply not been true. She began noticing how quickly stories appeared. A friend did not answer her message. She doesn't care. A cashier looked distracted. People are so rude. Rain canceled an outdoor dinner. Perfect. Everything goes wrong. Each time, Nora imagined holding Samuel's frame. Not to force herself into cheerful thinking. Not to pretend disappointment never hurt. Simply to make room. What else could this mean? Her friend had been asleep with a fever. The cashier was worried about his son. The canceled dinner became an evening indoors where Nora and her brother talked until midnight and laughed harder than they had in years. Yet the biggest test came months later. Nora applied for a position she deeply wanted. She prepared for weeks. The answer came on a Thursday morning. They chose someone else. This time, no frame could make the disappointment disappear. She sat at her kitchen table and cried. Then an old familiar voice began. "You failed. You are behind. Nothing works out for you." Nora did not argue with it. She simply noticed it. The rejection was real. The identity she was building from it was optional. She whispered, "What happened? I didn't get the job. What did I make it mean? That I am not enough?" She waited, then asked the question that had changed everything. "Is there another view?" There was no immediate answer, and surprisingly, that was enough. For the first time, she did not need to turn uncertainty into punishment. 2 days later, she returned to Harbor Park. Samuel was there. She placed a small red picture frame on his table. "For your collection." He smiled. "What did you learn?" "That seeing differently doesn't mean decorating something painful until it looks pretty." Samuel nodded. "It means I don't have to let my first judgment become a prison." He raised the red frame and looked at her through it. "And how does the view look now?" Nora laughed, unfinished. "Excellent." They sat beside the fountain. Children shouted. A dog barked. The wind blew napkins across the grass. None of it was perfect. And for once, Nora did not ask it to be. She had discovered that peace did not depend on arranging the world into a picture she liked. Sometimes peace began with the willingness to loosen her grip on the picture she had already made. And whenever her old conclusions returned, she remembered. Same moment, another view. May we sing, rest, and dance our way home together.